I don't know what he did. If I'm guessing he does this on his laptop, but I mean,
Like, who would have thought, like, all right, let's get a side angle of this chair. This will look real cool.
real elegance of the armchair there.
Yeah. Tim, this is a lot of nonsense coming from your end.
Let's see. We said 8 o'clock. It's 8:30. We've never actually.
Oh, relax.
There he is.
There he
But
is.
I had to get the good headphones. I found them.
Of course. Why were you using the bad ones in the first place?
Oh, as I was saying, because you couldn't hear me, Gazelle, those pictures are the classiest thing about you. And Mark, you look like you styled your hair with a can of WD-40.
It's because you wouldn't understand. Me and Gazelle have long hair, so I got to tie my hair back because it's such a mane. It just flows.
Understandable.
So I gotta contain it. You wouldn't understand that, but it's got to be contained.
See, unlike you two vermin, I care about personal hygiene, so I keep my hair to a respectable length.
Tim, you're just a square with short hair.
Excuse me? A square?
You're just a straight up square. That's like when people look at you, they just think square. Like this guy just got average hair. You're average dude. Average sports knowledge.
Below average, maybe. I mean,
honestly, I've been considered shapes many times. Never a square. I have been considered an octagon more than others because I am a star in 8 different regions, and that's kind of where I come into this. Wait, Mark. I just want to know, where's Steve Atwater on your top 10?
I was generally concerned.
He was going to be on the initial list.
I feel like, you know what, Gazelle, to be honest, we just keep setting the bar lower and lower and lower.
But he was like, yeah, I don't know. I really want to put Dawkins at 1. I was like, oh, that's funny. And then
I was like, where are you guys going to put Dawkins?
and I was like, wait, is he not joking?
Yeah, listen, this is just something else.
It's all hustle. I start off with the bar low, and then once we get it rolling, that's when things start coming up. It's all tip of the iceberg. Tim, why do you have a green pillow behind you right now?
Yeah, is your neck hurt from?
Why don't you just get a chair that's regular height or one that has padding behind it?
1, green has been always respected as a sensual color, and I'm a sensual person.
Sensual.
2, this is the prize right here. I keep this guarded at all times. I'd wear a football helmet to sleep to keep this guarded. This is what pays the bills. You wouldn't understand because yours is empty and filled with spider webs and Charlotte saving the pig up in that cranium.
What?
Welcome to episode 8. We are here talking about
It's
safeties.
7. You mess this up every time. It's episode 7.
Fine. We have as a guest today someone that has spent too much of my time with. I know all of our guests at home are wondering, wow, you are so intelligent. How could you have possibly taken all of these intelligent genes from your parents with all your siblings not getting anything? And we're about to prove that. Mark, introduce yourself to the crowd.
Hello, I'm Mark. I'm Tim's brother, and I'm here to just spread some knowledge. Is that the sponsor, Tim? What is that?
This is You Can't Handle the Juice. Just to remind you of You Can't Handle the Juice.
Tim comes with all these from
you come prepared. I'll give you that. You come prepared.
Tim has these obscure beers I've never seen in my life.
Do you have a can of whoop ass back there too, or?
Well, why would I ruin the surprise now?
All right, we'll have to stay tuned, I guess.
Mark, what do you have? A bottle of C4 or a post-workout protein shake?
I don't really have anything. Just the WD-40 for my hair. That's about it.
Fair enough.
Tim was drinking that a couple episodes ago, so.
I was.
The 7
What's that,
one.
WD-40?
Yeah.
We did. That was with the stash. That was when I looked better than any other point in my life.
I will say, Tim, I'll give you a little sneak peek. This is a different list for me because there's a lot of young guys who.
You know what? We'll get to number 10, and I want to go first on number 10 because of you. Because I was like, you know what?
We're gonna skip the guest. That's rude.
Fine. We can let the
yeah. What's up with this?
Fine. All right, so we'll start this again. Welcome to episode 7, Safeties. As we clearly don't set the bar high on guests, we have now invited someone that has also experienced my mom's womb. I have taken all the intelligent genes.
I was going to salute to that, but I don't know about that anymore.
Let me finish. I've taken all the intelligent genes before he came into this world.
The better brother.
Don't hate him. Don't hate him for being idiotic.
Oy.
We bring in Mark WW40 Mullen.
Round of applause.
That is me. I also took all the good-looking genes.
All right, Mark. So let's start.
Yeah, guess go first.
All right, number 10.
Hold on, let me grab my list.
Number 10 on my list, I'm going to go with Kevin Byard of Tennessee.
Ooh,
interesting.
The Titans of Tennessee.
Interesting.
To be fair, I expected Steve Atwater, Ronnie Lott, Ed Reed, but I'm happy you chose someone that's actively playing in the NFL.
You see, I had Dawkins, but I have too much respect for Dawkins, so I moved him up the list. So Byard drops down to 10.
Okay, you know what? I won't argue that, but make your point. Tell me about Byard.
So Byard, 2017, he made All-Pro list, and in the last 3 seasons, 17 interceptions, more than any player in the NFL on the defensive side of the ball.
Yes,
which it would have to be to make interceptions. So
I was going to say, how many offensive players have made an interception last?
I think he's second or third, including offensive, but defensive, he's good. He's behind Jameis on the offensive.
Well, okay, fair enough. That was good. I'll give you that. Who knew that I left enough humor genes around for you to take?
There's a few of them.
You know what? I like the Bird. I'm not going to lie. I had zero hope for him. I really expected this to be a car crash, and it still could be, but he came out with a respect.
We've only done one so far. We've only gone to 10, so.
Yeah,
Listen, I'm not going to lie. The bar was set really low. I thought 10 was going to be something bad.
We expected like Dick Night Train Lane.
I was expecting like, I don't know, Warren Sapp.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe on the next list, I'll think about it.
But
he's a running back, right? Warren Sapp?
Yeah.
Warren Sapp's defensive tackle.
That was the joke.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
You test my knowledge, I come back.
Yeah, he's not playing games.
Take all the intelligence.
I will say,
to be fair, I didn't expect Mark to actually look into facts from 2017. While they were 3 years ago, he was correct with it, so I'll give him that.
I do my research. Hey, if you were one of the top 4 players in the league at your position within the last 3 years, I'd say it's pretty relevant.
Yeah.
Especially he's still a pretty young guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I have nothing against Byard. I think you made a good pick there.
Younger than Steve Atwater.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's true.
And on your Dawkins hit, I was looking for my Dawkins jersey, but I couldn't find it. But I do have
that would have been good.
I did see,
I have a Clemson Dawkins T-shirt. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
That's cleaner than some Febreze. That's nice.
Yeah.
Give us a little stand up and twirl.
We got a little Dawkins on the back too.
Oh, all right, okay.
Little Clemson on the sleeve.
Wait. Show me the tummy again. Show me the tummy again. I want to see the tummy. Oh, baby.
That's nice. That's official.
Fresh.
That's legit.
I'm not gonna lie. I like that a lot. I thought you were wearing it for Kayvon Wallace. I thought he was gonna make the list.
No, hopefully, next year maybe he'll jump in, or in 2 years he'll jump on this list. I have high hopes for him. So
I like him. I like him a lot.
I've only heard good things. PFF loves him apparently. So we'll see where he goes. I don't know if he'll start this year with what's going. I think it's probably gonna be McLeod and either Parks or Mills. But
all right, well, I'll educate you with the correct answer at number 10. And this one, I would have brought him up a little higher. I love this guy. I love him. But all I heard in my ear when I was doing this list is he's only done it for 1 year. And as any loyal follower will know, no matter who you are, you could be a living legend. You could be MVP. It doesn't really matter if you did it for 1 year, as long as you do it for 10 years. Gazelle only cares if you've been in the league for a longevity amount of time. So number 10, I went with a young guy. I went with Derwin James.
So that's a bit high.
A bit. What do you mean, bit high?
10?
Yeah, because listen,
you've been away. You've been away for a while. I'm a very, very big Derwin James fan.
I'm on Gazelle's train here. I got Derwin James
much higher
on the list.
Yeah.
I love Derwin James, but you know what? You look at the 3 things that everyone knows that I appreciate. Mm-hmm. What'd you do last year, which unfortunately he got hurt and didn't do much.
Yeah.
What are you going to do next year, which I obviously have high hopes for, and if I start on my team, he'd be pretty high on this list. But He's only done it the 1 year, which does hurt me. He was first team All-Pro, or he was an All-Pro his first year. He was an absolute stud. I think he could play all over the place. His rookie season, obviously, 3.5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, and 13 pass breakups to go along with 75 tackles is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
The defense is a little bit different than his rookie year, and I'm not gonna lie, this list was littered with good players. Like 11, I had Buda Baker, and I wanted to put.
I wanted to put Buda Baker on.
I wanted to put him on this list.
He had a couple players.
I honestly could not make an argument for Derwin James outside of potential and his rookie year. So I gave the nod to guys that have done it and still will do it, because I still think my list is proven guys that will continue to do it. Derwin's a stud. Yeah. I would not be surprised if he is. We talked about this before, guys that will shoot up this list. If we do this again next year, I would not be surprised if he's top 3 easily. But I love him. He's very versatile. Moves all over the field. The sacks that he puts up in a rookie year too is just phenomenal.
I mean, if not for Darius Leonard, he would have won MVP, Defensive Rookie of the Year. So
yeah, well, Darius Leonard kind of balled out. So
yeah,
but no, I mean, I love Derwin. I think he's gonna be really good. It hurt me put him at 10. It did, but I factored in for other guys that, like, if I was, as my 3 pillars say, if I was starting my team, safeties are very important. Outside of middle linebacker, your safety is your quarterback or your defense. They run that secondary. They're very, very important. It's all about mental. And I think Derwin got by on his athleticism on the rookie year, and clearly he knowing the scheme, but he hasn't developed the mental side of it. And I think everyone that I have above him has, and they have the production to base it off of.
I will say, for this list, I don't really always agree with your 3-prong system, but I was more so looking at this list that way, where a lot of these players I'm looking at their potential, and what
I was gonna say, I was thinking a lot more potential, like coming into the upcoming season.
Yeah, just because the pool, I kind of looked at like how young the majority of the players on my list are, so I just decided it was. I move players around based on, what they did the last 2-3 years, and then like what do I think they're going to be able to do next year and the years coming.
To be fair, like obviously I've been telling you that my 3-prong system is the way to go off of, and you've been fighting on me for some reason. But like I have some young safeties in this list, and you'll see them that Derwin's amazing, but he's only had 1 year, and I sound like Dakota when I say that, but at the same time, there are young safeties on this top 10 that have had multiple years that I think will continue to be good and be better. Yeah. Derwin will too, but right now I feel okay with 10. I do have a couple veterans mixed in the list, and you're talking about like guys that are going to Canton.
Yeah, I mean, I think pure talent, I would put Derwin higher. I mean, I have him higher, but I think it's fair. Because the fact that he only has his rookie year to really base anything off of, he played in 5 games last year because he was hurt to start the season. But I mean, when he came back, the Chargers immediately returned to like much better defense. So
yeah,
that's the thing with Derwin. Like the only year he actually played, like he was just all pro stud.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to also factor in rookie year. Like, granted, it's amazing to hit the ground running, but you got to also factor in these people don't know you. They don't know who you are.
That's different for defense. Like defense, you're trying to scheme to stop someone. So if you don't know, if you're like a rookie on offense and you're something that like no one's seen before, I feel like it's tougher to scheme. Where like a defense, you're more like reacting. So like you don't really plan as much for like Derwin James as you would say for like Alvin Kamara or something like that, or like an offensive player.
I agree with you there, but I think a smart quarterback could put any defender in an uncomfortable position. I think a smart quarterback could flex out a slot wide receiver or, audible to a tight end passing route and put that safety in an uncomfortable position, or audible into a running position knowing that safety cannot play the run. Don't get me wrong. I think Derwin.
That's the thing about Derwin James. He does everything.
This was not a slight to Derwin. I think the safeties in the league, and this other thing is, I think safeties have been slept on as a value position. I think they're crucial. Like they're a valuable player.
Yeah.
They run the defense from after the middle linebacker, who's just in the middle of the whole defense. Your safety runs your secondary, which in a passing league is incredibly important. Nothing against Derwin. I like the guys that I put ahead of him. It's a mixture of like veterans that are just legends at the game and know what they're doing to guys that are just young and have produced a little bit more than Derwin did.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, my list is quite different from that. I went with more young guys than anything else, which I'll get into. So my number 10, somebody who's been around for a little while. I thought about swapping him with a couple of people. I thought about maybe a Malcolm Jenkins, but Malcolm is kind of tailed off a little bit. Still a great, leader, playmaker, but not quite top 10 anymore. But this guy is 3-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time Pro Bowler, and was a native of New Jersey. I did not know that. He went to high school in New Jersey. Devin McCourty at number 10.
Okay, all right.
I like that.
Yeah, I think I was kind of surprised. He only made 2 Pro Bowls in 10 seasons, I think. He was drafted in 2010. But he's like the model of consistency. He started, looks like since his rookie year, started 16 games and has missed maybe 3 games his entire career, 2-3 games. So
durability.
Dude's a baller, he's not going to have the best numbers you want for, those positions. I mean, last year he only had 58 combined tackles in 16 games, but he had 5 picks. He's not a high pick guy. I mean, safeties aren't usually the guys who get tons of interceptions. It's more corners.
5 interceptions. That's a good amount.
No, yeah, I didn't. No, I meant 5 this past year, but in his previous seasons, his highest was 7 his rookie year, and then it was like 2, 1, 2, 1.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of stunned that I put the up and coming rookie up and coming young guy with 1 good year, and you put the solid superstar veteran that's done it year in and year out at 10. I'm very surprised by that because obviously you have Derwin a little higher than I do, and I have Devin McCourty obviously a little higher than you do. I am surprised that you went with someone that only had 1 year over someone that's done it for a while.
I mean, I look at him, he is 30, he'll be 33 at the start of the season. That's a factor. So
yeah, but you know what? He had 5. I'll let it go. Till when I go up there.
I just don't think you don't see safeties and corners. Really, the only positions where you can get older and older and you're still retaining yourself is when you're like a lineman or a quarterback. Really, like receivers, you lose your speed, you lose your athleticism. So kind of like how your methods are. Where what are you going to do for me next year? I think Derwin James is by far a better talent than Devin McCourty next year. So
Derwin James has a higher ceiling for next season.
Oh, for sure.
We'll see about that. We'll get to it. So we'll let Mark go. We'll get to that.
Roll into number 9, Mr. Mullen.
All right. Well, that actually transitions perfectly because I have Devin McCourty at number 9.
Okay, smart man.
Interesting.
My main reason actually was kind of what Tim's been saying is safety is kind of like the quarterback of the defense outside of the linebacker, and he was the quarterback of the defense last year for probably the best defense in the NFL, and I feel like he's just fundamentally just working with Belichick, being with the Patriots all the time, being a 3-time Super Bowl champion, just being the anchor of that defense. I mean, he's just a solid overall player mentally, physically. The only knock I have against him would be I feel like he doesn't have that same like high ceiling like a Derwin James does. Like he's just a solid, consistent guy. But he is also getting a little bit older, being 33.
He's already hit the ceiling. What do you mean high ceiling? He doesn't need potential high ceiling.
But McCourty's like, you're not going to think of McCourty as like one of the greatest safeties of all time. But I feel like Derwin James or someone like that, you could think of him at like the end of a 10-year, 15-year career.
McCourty's never been like the sexy name. He's always just been like a key of consistency.
Yeah, he's just like your solid fundamental
guy. Name a player on the
Patriots.
Name a player on the Patriots that wasn't Tom Brady that was a sexy name.
Gronkowski.
Randy Moss.
Shut up, Randy Moss. Get out of here. He spent 3 years
Gronkowski.
there. Sure, Gronk.
Gilmore?
I'll give you. Gilmore's been there for 2 years.
Yeah, he was 3 years in Buffalo, though.
Oh, stop with this nonsense. You guys are picking people that were
Flowers,
sexy on
Chandler
other
Jones
teams.
played for the Patriots.
Chandler Jones is a better Cardinal than he was a Patriot.
Yeah.
He was pretty good on the Patriots.
But he was pretty good on the Patriots.
Did he have 19 sacks on the Patriots?
Maybe. I don't know. We did that video so long ago.
All right, you know what? We'll let it be. I'll get to McCourty later. I respect when you hit the ceiling. Listen, I'm a huge fan of Derwin. I love him. But this was a tough list to do, and he's going to hit that ceiling. I do think he is, but Devin's already hit it, and he's still hitting it. The guy had interceptions last year.
What I've noticed with when I was looking through this is that the safeties that in my list or like who I was looking through like were either like 3-4 years into the league, or they're like 10 years, like they've been
Yeah.
doing it forever.
There's
Oh,
no
yeah,
like
no,
middle
I
ground.
Yeah,
agree.
it's an interesting turnaround, and there's
It's an interesting
it's-
position.
It's crazy how many like superstars there are at safety, like super young in the league.
Dude,
right
I
now.
told you this is going to be the hardest one we've done.
Yeah, but
So, all
can
right,
go on to number 9.
let me go to number 9. So, obviously, this one was sad, and I'm surprised that I gave away enough intelligent genes that Mark was able to perform this into his top 10. But I went with Kevin Byard as well.
Okay.
Mark said 17 sacks in the last 3 years.
17 interceptions.
17. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was 17 interceptions. You're right.
It's okay. You don't have all the intelligence genes, but it's all right.
I mean, 5 interceptions last year, 9 passes defended. The team went to the AFC Championship. That was a nice defense they were running out. Obviously, Tannehill had a career year, but that defense kind of carried them, I would say. He was patrolling the secondary. He resurrected the career, I think, of Adoree Jackson. A young guy, but I think Kevin Byard helped him incredibly. Vrabel, of course, is, tutelage comes from Belichick. He played under him, and Belichick has always been a secondary guy. And I think, Vrabel probably leans on his secondary just like Belichick did. He's been the epitome of consistency. I knew he was going to be in the top 10. I didn't know where I was going to put him. I could have switched him and Derwin. I wouldn't even argue with you about that. But solid guy. I have no issues with him. I think he's going to be a stud next year. He was great this year, and I think he'll be fine going forward.
I'm not going to be too bothered with any number for any of these players on this list, but I have Kevin Byard a little higher. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's already shown crazy
I mean,
potential.
to be fair, I think I think we might have seen the best of him, and that's not an insult. Like, he's been amazing these last 3 years.
He reminds me of like Cam Chancellor, so I was a big Cam fan.
Much better ball skills, I would say. Cam Chancellor just kind of ended people.
That's what I mean, I have stats. I have a couple stats for Byard. I really like him. So
to be fair, I'd probably be okay. There probably won't be a lot of arguing on this list because I think the safeties are pretty stacked.
Yeah.
I really feel like you could have mixed and matched about 12 different safeties in any of these 10 spots.
I mean, my number 9. I think I don't know how you guys feel about him, but I had Eddie Jackson at 9.
Fair enough.
I had him just outside my list.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in the initial top 10, and I kicked him out. I wanted to put him there. I did, but
I had him in. I had penciled him in, and then I kicked him out for Anthony Harris at first, and then I kicked Anthony Harris out.
Wait.
But
You kicked out Anthony Harris out of the top
Yeah,
10?
yeah.
Okay. Here I am saying that I would be comfortable with any order we do, and then realizing that you are questionably a little challenged when you keep Anthony Harris out of the top 10 list here.
No, yeah, he was who I was referencing earlier. That was great. That was number 1 by PFF. But
that's okay. We'll get to that.
He's great. Like you said, he was easily like 11. I could swap him. I can swap him with Eddie Jackson.
There's a couple things I can bet on. The sun will come up tomorrow, and every time when we do one of these videos, I will disagree with you heavily on one of your idiotic opinions.
I have nothing to criticize him for. I just, he plays next to Harrison Smith.
Punish him
No, Harrison Smith is the leader.
No. Go ahead with Eddie Jackson. I'll educate you later.
Fair enough. Anyways, yeah, Eddie Jackson had his 2018 was incredible. He arguably could have won Defensive Player of the Year, and he was part of that really like incredible Bears defense. But you saw this past season, Bears defense kind of struggled at times. Even Khalil Mack wasn't his self, I think. And Eddie Jackson wasn't as great. I watched him film. He's still super instinctive. He'll hit you. All hawk. I mean, all-around solid player. I think he fits in the top 10. He could be one of those players that might not end up, sustaining this throughout his career. But Alabama safety, they're hit and miss, it seems like nowadays. So, but yeah, I like him at 9. But like I said, 9 to top 15 we could have made, honestly, and it would have been.
Yeah, I hear you there. From what I took from that whole thing, you remember the 3 prongs.
Yeah.
Last year, next year, and if I started my team, nothing about that included what you did 2 years ago. And Eddie Jackson had a down year last year.
Yeah.
Sure. I feel just as good about him going into next year as I do about probably the top 15 safeties. Like, he's not really someone I'm like, wetting my pants over. And really, his big year came after Khalil Mack entered the team. So he didn't make my top 10. The fact that you put him over Anthony Harris is absolutely criminal. But you've made a lot more ridiculous opinions than this, so I'll let it slide.
That's fine. I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't know. I was seeing a lot of lists where they had him like top 5, which I thought was a little crazy. But
I saw him on the top 10 on a couple lists. I like Eddie Jackson, but
I like Eddie Jackson. I do. He's like 12, but
I was gonna say he's like 11 or 12 for me. Like him and the other guy I just left off was Marcus Williams from the Saints. So I would say like they're like 11 and 12.
I mean, my first list I had Eddie Jackson off, and I had Anthony Harris at 7, and then like I said, I kept switching around. But you could plug in. I have no problem plugging in like 3 other players and switching stuff around. It's just it has end up coming to preference. Who I just thought, as of today, I think top 10 going into the season. So
fair enough. Hey, we're not all as smart as me, so I appreciate that.
Oh my god! All right, Mark, what you got for 8?
Number 8, I have Denver Broncos guy Justin Simmons.
Wow, at number 8, are you?
Tim, I agree with you. That's a little disrespectful.
That is incredibly disrespectful. I thought that Dakota was going to be the most ridiculous opinion, and then I realized that I took all the intelligence genes before you ever popped out. Justin Simmons at number 8. Please educate me on where you struggled to actually form a complete thought.
I was just watching film on him too.
I don't know. I just I think like he's right up there, obviously, with any one of them. It was really just like of that like middle of the pack. Like I feel like you could really put them anywhere. But I mean, he was an All-Pro. He was an All-Pro last year, I believe, the year before. He's a real good coverage guy, but I don't know. I just feel like some of the other safeties are like better, just overall safeties in my opinion. I like him though. I mean, he's in the top 10.
You sound like you're breaking up with someone in middle school. You're really great, like you are.
It's not him. It's me. It's my style.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Justin, that I took all those intelligent genes. I want to undress you right now, but that would take away most of my fuel for later.
I have fuel for Justin later as well. So
yeah, you're an idiot, but we'll leave it as it is.
It was funny. I was talking to Nick, the guy we did our quarterbacks video with.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you don't put Justin Simmons higher in your list, I'm never talking to you again. So
yeah, I like I can't even fathom to think where his thinking was on this.
Where my thinking was?
Like, I have him much higher than you are, and I felt like I disrespected him. And I had a very hard argument about this, and I felt bad on where I put him, and he's much higher than where you put him. Yeah, Jesus.
All right,
Listen, that's why I have my list and you have your list.
So we've had back-to-back shockers. Tim, who do you have at 8? Are we going crazy again?
I didn't realize I had lunatics I was arguing with. No, I went with this was one of the Hall of Fame defenders. I said one of the legends, one of the veteran guys I went with. I went at number 8, Earl Thomas.
Tim, I went with Earl
You're
Thomas.
So ridiculous. You're so stupid.
Look at that. Look at that.
Me and Dakota never hit on anything. This is a huge moment.
We agree on Simmons. We agree on Thomas. This is great.
Wow. You know what?
We need to bring Mark on more often.
I always say that I'm giving a free masterclass on NFL knowledge every time we do this video. And I think Dakota is finally starting to learn. And I'm impressed. You're like my pupil that I hated and probably thought was going to end up in jail. And then you ended up being like Magnum Cum Laude.
I did get Magna Cum Laude at Kutztown. Thanks for pointing that out.
Oh, congratulations.
But go ahead on Earl Thomas first. I'll let you touch on him and then.
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, we all know the Legion of Boom. We do. He's like that already made him arguably a Hall of Famer. Super Bowl, appearance or Super Bowl win, Super Bowl appearance, multiple time All-Pro, multiple time Pro Bowler. Now, here's the thing about Earl Thomas. He reinvented himself, and that is amazing at his older age.
Mm-hmm.
He played 264 snaps in the box. That's more than he played from 2015 and 2018 combined.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 sacks last year, and you're like, oh, Tim, 2 sacks, whatever. You really going to pipe your horn over 2 sacks? How many sacks did he have before this? 0. Because he was always out there playing coverage in Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
He had 6 quarterback hits. That's more than the rest of his career combined.
Mm-hmm.
The guy reinvented himself when he needed to be. I'm saying the Ravens defense reminds me of the Legion of Boom. They're secondary heavy. This past year, the front seven has been very below average.
I like their secondary, but it's not Legion of Boom.
No, give it a second. Marlon Humphrey.
I like Humphreys
Marcus
a lot.
Peters,
Yeah.
Jimmy Smith. That's a nice cornerback tandem, and you have Earl Thomas rolling the deep field. It's not the Legion of Boom, but they're building it like it is the Legion of Boom with the secondary first. Their front seven is their problem, though. They don't have a Bobby Wagner when they let C.J. Mosley leave.
Yeah.
And their defense line gets pushed around. Now that they got, Calais Campbell and they made some good moves, I like what they're going to do this year. But the fact that this guy is a veteran who's been a Pro Bowl, All-Pro, arguably you could say he's already in the Hall of Fame before he went to the Ravens, and he reinvented himself to be in-the-box safety where he needed to be to help the team. A team that, went, 14-2, you got to give it to him. I know I break it down to 3 pillars. I think he's going to be fine next year. He got a great last year. And if I started my team, you know what? I'd love to have a leader like Earl Thomas on my team. I know he's up there in the years, but if I could get a couple more good years out of him as the leader, done. Easily.
Yeah, he was same draft year as McCourty, 2010. He's a year younger. He's 31. But, yeah, I mean, I thought – that transition, he played generally free safety in Seattle. And then I think he switched over to, like you said, the box, played a lot of strong safety.
Well, this year, yeah. And it's to help the team.
Yeah. Which is fine. But, like, a lot of his stats are super, like, he only had less than 50 tackles, nowhere near his normal, like, 90, 80. But, yeah, he's 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. But, yeah, like you said, Tim, he's getting up there in age. Hasn't made the Pro Bowl since or hasn't made the All-Pro since 2014. Pro Bowl every other year. But.
Stop with that. Kill him. Hey, All-Pro. Hey, the guy's a 3-time All-Pro in his career, though, isn't he?
Yeah, 3-time All-Pro. But I'm saying he like from 2012 to 2014, he was All-Pro and Pro Bowl 3 straight years. And then since then, it's been every other year for the Pro Bowl. I think last year he got on name alone, personally, but
well, they were the best team in football. So
but hey, he's my number 8.
Yeah,
he's your number 8.
I know. I'm with it.
Yeah, he's still a great player. But I don't think he's the same as he was at Legion of Boom.
Of course not. But I think the Ravens are building what the Seahawks were. They realize the secondary is where you start, and you have a leader like Earl Thomas in the backfield. If you don't think that Earl Thomas was leading that Legion of Boom secondary, you're out of your skull. He was playing a different position. He was the deep field, center field guy where, you know why? Brandon Brown and Richard Sherman could use their physical strength and their bigger body and push wide receivers up in line is because they had Earl Thomas patrolling center field and Cam Chancellor coming down the box to lay some heads out.
Yeah. But like you said, future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, without a doubt.
That's my piece on Thomas. I don't got much time.
Okay, so wait. Was Thomas a Hall of Famer before he went to the Ravens?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I would say the Legion of Boom, Seattle dynasty alone, he made him Hall of Famer.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. The fact that he reinvented himself, put him in this top 10, I wanted to put him higher, but the list is stacked.
Listen, I was going to say, the fact you put him at 8 is a little disrespectful. I mean, he's been consensus probably like best safety in the league for the past decade.
I know, but
you got to factor in that age.
Especially if you're talking about starting up a team, like you were saying, like he's the best leader on this list for sure. I think he's got the best mindset for being a safety, the best, he's just the person I trust the most of being in the back of my defense, holding things down of anyone on this list.
See, now,
he was hurt. He had that surgery on his knee. That slows him down at that.
That is true. His age thing is the only thing that.
Yeah. So the thing is, I don't think he's actually the center fielder he was with the Legion Boom anymore. I think that I'm impressed that he reinvented himself to be an in-box safety. But but
the thing is, he can do that too.
Yeah, he's so athletic.
But I honestly don't know if he can play the center field anymore. He has 3 stud cornerbacks behind him. I think that helps a lot, where he can be a little more free and his coverage responsibilities aren't as strict as they were with Seattle. I think he gets by with the corners being as good as they are on the Ravens. But
I don't think Jimmy Smith's a stud, but yeah.
As a third corner, though?
He's good as a third corner, but he's not.
I do like Peters and Humphreys is a solid duo.
Jimmy Smith is a third corner, though.
Jefferson at safety is good, too.
Yeah, the secondary stacked where Earl Thomas, I think if you took Earl Thomas away from that secondary, he wouldn't look as good as he's been.
Yeah, but that secondary wouldn't look as good either because Earl Thomas is the
I agree.
general.
I agree, and he's also reinvented himself on this being an in-the-box guy. He didn't.
That's the thing. He can just do everything. He's proved that he can.
I mean, they
pretty
went
much
from
do everything.
They went from another potential Hall of Famer in Eric Weddle to another potential Hall of Famer in Earl Thomas. So
yeah, but the thing is, like, I mean, I told you the stats, like the 2 sacks and the 6 quarterback hits. Like, that's impressive as quarterback hits for him. But he's not really lighting the world on fire, and with
he might not be more of this. He's not as much a stat number generator as much as he is just.
Yeah, I know, but I just I think I'm impressed that he reinvented himself into a new player. I'm not saying that new player he was lighting the world on fire. He was nearly as good as when he was playing center field for the Legion Boom.
Yeah.
But I can't knock the guy for playing a new position and doing it pretty well.
It's fair.
Fair enough. I don't have any more. I think Mark has Thomas a little higher.
Number 7.
Yeah, go ahead. Get your 7.
All right. Number 7, I have Anthony Harris, where you originally had him, Gazelle.
Respectable.
A lot
Anthony
more
Harris.
intelligent than Gazelle, but
I like Anthony Harris a lot. I think the Vikings, just him and Harrison Smith, the best safety duo in the NFL. He had 6 interceptions last year, and I think he's just starting to, hit his stride, and then hopefully he can just maintain this where he's at.
Yeah, I like Anthony Harris. He's very much a playmaker, quick guy. I just think, I think he benefits from playing next to Harrison Smith, where some of these safeties aren't benefiting from having, a really great – like I wanted to put Micah Hyde on this list, but I think him and Jordan Poyer are, right up there with the Vikings duo safeties. But
listen, I agree with you about the Harrison Smith thing, but you are ignorant for not putting him in your top 10. I will get to the Harrison Smith thing. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you are a fool to use that against Anthony Harris. He wasn't a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro last year to make you feel good, but he still led the league in interceptions. And I'll get to you other reasons why he is in the top 10.
All right, Chris Jones, what you got at 7?
That was cold. All right, number 7, I'm going veteran again, another Hall of Famer. I'm going with someone that had popped up before, and I'm going with Devin McCourty.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that.
We focus on the 3 pillars.
You focus on the 3 pillars.
What'd you do last year? You had 5 interceptions, and hold on. You were a part of a record-setting defense that allowed 13 passing touchdowns while also having 25 interceptions. If you think that is the
Are you sitting on the highway, Mark?
No, I'm kind of close to the highway. I was gonna say I just missed the second half of your sentence completely.
Yeah, I don't know what he was gonna say.
So let me go back to what I was
wasn't
saying.
Important anyway.
Yeah, probably not.
So as I was saying, you factor in the 3 factors. Last year with Devin McCourty, obviously 5 interceptions, second most in the NFL, tied for second most in the NFL. His overall defense, the 2019 Patriots defense was record-setting. They gave up 13 passing touchdowns and had 25 interceptions. That's almost a 2-to-1 ratio. That's disgusting. You want to talk about safeties that run their team? This guy has been playing under Bill Belichick for a decade. He knows more about football than half of the NFL head coaches do in the NFL right now. He's a 3-time Super Bowl winner. He had the second lowest passer rating of safeties from PFF last year. He knows what he's doing. He's always in the right spot. He leads that defense. Don't get me wrong. Gilmore was amazing. He was Defensive Player of the Year. He's a number 1 stud corner. But Devin McCourty was doing this before Gilmore got there. He takes the freaking Patrick Chung has been a near Pro Bowl player when he plays next to Devin McCourty under Bill Belichick's tutelage. He's one of the few people. Belichick gets rid of players like it's no one's business. Besides Brady, McCourty's been on his team just as long as anyone else. He had a great year last year. I don't expect him to fall off running the Patriots defense. And from the leadership standpoint and the fact that he would know more than most head coaches in the NFL, I'd take him on my team to start the team easily, without a doubt.
It's fair.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I don't have a problem with Cordy. I just factored in his age. I don't think he's getting better.
I hear you, but he did not fall off last year. He had 5 interceptions, leading one of the best defensive seasons last year. Don't forget, even though the Patriots fell off in the playoffs and their offense sucked, that defense was on record-setting pace.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to argue with him, but they had, great players surrounding him too. So
Well,
he was one of those great players. I'm
I was
not
gonna
knocking
say,
him. I'm
don't
just
knock the
saying.
guy for
I'm not
being one of
knocking
those
him.
great players.
I'm just
I
saying
I know Gilmore was Defense Player of the Year, but don't think McCourty wasn't doing it before he got there.
No, he was. He was. That's why he
I
was
think the thing is
in my
too,
top
especially
10.
with having Belichick. Like Belichick's a defensive mind, like the best defensive mind, and just being able to play to execute like Belichick's orders. You know what I mean? Like if you put like an Earl Thomas or someone in that same situation.
Yeah.
Oh, come on now. Belichick gets rid of players like all the time. He realizes that his system is more important than the player, and there's a rare few of players that just are his system. And McCourty's been his system. He's been drafted, I believe it was the first round by the Patriots, and has stayed there his entire career. He's got
Yeah,
three
but he's still
rings.
working in a system under Belichick. What I'm saying is like if you gave another safety or someone else in that same situation, like an Earl Thomas or someone with probably more potential or better player individually, then they would be able to do the same thing or perform even better. I'm saying he's in a very good situation, like the same thing Gazelle was saying with like Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith.
Completely disagree because you gotta Belichick obviously has his system, but you gotta run your system on the field. You gotta have guys that implement your system on the field. McCourty has been the stable of the Patriots on defense for the last 10 years. You've seen Collins leave, you've seen Jones leave, you've seen Samuel leave, you've seen it goes on. And these players that just come in, the Van Noys, the Chungs, the Eric Rose, the J.C. Jacksons that just come in, and McCourty's always that solid force. He hasn't skipped a beat. He had, I think, arguably his best year last year. 5 interceptions, the second most in the NFL. Like, that's not something to sleep on.
I mean, you're just basing it off of interceptions. He does
I'm sorry.
much more than interceptions.
He was also the second lowest passer rating of safeties according to Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, I know.
Saying.
To somebody I have a little higher on my list, but go on.
I know Mark was having the Indianapolis 500 when I said that the defense gave up 13 passing touchdowns to 25 interceptions. A 2-to-1 ratio.
I did hear that.
Running his secondary.
That's why I put McCourty on my list.
Stop.
I like McCourty.
He is that defense. He is the coach on the defense.
Yeah, but what if you take McCourty out of that system? Like if you take him off the Patriots and you put him on another team, you think he's the same effectiveness, the same player?
I think he's still an effective, really good player. He doesn't have 3 Super Bowl rings, but I think he's a very good player. The other thing is you gotta Mark's new to the show, so the 3 pillars are very important. If I started my team right now, that's one of the pillars. This guy knows more working under Bill Belichick for a decade than most NFL head coaches do. He could be a head coach in the league now, defense coordinator without a doubt.
I know. That's all I'm saying is that it benefits him being with Belichick and being on the Patriots than it would not be for them.
Execute it. This guy has perfected it.
Look, it's fair. I have him on my list too. I like him. I'm just saying it benefits him.
I'm just saying, don't sleep on the guy.
I mean, it's hard to sleep on him. He's 32, but number 7. So this is part of that me breaking my trend of older veteran players. I had Minkah Fitzpatrick at number 7.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
I had Minkah Fitzpatrick much lower or better on my list, however you want to phrase it.
I also had a much better. You know what?
He literally single-handedly turned around the Steelers. Living out in Pittsburgh, that's all I heard about was Minkah Fitzpatrick and how amazing he is in the defense.
Here's my thing is I agree with Mark here. You're obviously an idiot for having Minkah Fitzpatrick at 7, but the fact that you have Anthony Harris also off the top 10, what safeties do you have above them?
Didn't you say that this was the hardest list we ever did?
Oh my, yeah, but you're missing 2 of the guys I had much higher on my list.
Can I tell you why I put Minkah at 7 now?
Please.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Oh my God.
So, look, I out of the safeties that have been in the league for 2-3 years, he's not the one that I would if I had to choose one of them, not the one I would personally start my team with, but I like him. He's a tall safety at 6'1". Obviously, he had that incredible year with the Steelers. And I think, Tim, you might have been the one I was talking to that we were like, wow, that was such a dumb trade for Pittsburgh. And then
I agree. I honestly was one of the biggest haters of that trade.
Yeah, right. So was I off the bat.
I hated it. I thought it was so stupid.
But then, lo and behold, he had a hell of a year. Arguably could have won Defensive Player of the Year.
He's number 7 on your list?
Yeah, I really liked him in Miami that rookie year. And then obviously was interested to see how he would do in Pittsburgh, and was a ball hawk. He had 5 picks. pretty good stuff. Hit a touchdown on one of them. Yeah, I mean, good. It's a good list. There's a couple of good players still on my list that I just think right now are better in their career. So
Listen, I'll educate you later, but I can't believe you had him there.
okay.
I can't even fathom this.
So yeah, I'll let you guys talk about that. But another 23-year-old on my list. So it's a trend.
God.
Go ahead, Mark. What's your number 6?
All right, moving to 6. This is where I will put Earl Thomas.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
I can live with.
6.
You know what? I initially had Earl Thomas higher on my list. Like
yeah, I had him
high.
top 5.
I'm
The
not
thing
gonna
with
lie.
Earl Thomas is just like he's consensus like the past decade, like been pretty much the best safety in the NFL. Like he's such a good tackler. He's just pass coverage leader. Like he checks all the boxes except for maybe now like size and his age and injury history. But I mean, just with that, like even just having him on my team, like a McCourty thing, like having just his knowledge, his leadership, I would just trust him to just not, especially a position like safety. You can't really make mistakes. If you make mistakes, it's an 80-yard touchdown. I feel like he's just the least likely to do stupid little fundamental mistakes, and I would love to just have him as a safety essentially. So that's why I got him up on the list.
See, I mean, you bring up the mistakes part. Like when I think of the Legion of Boom, I think of big corners like Browner, Sherman, the guys that are jacking up the wide receiver at the line of scrimmage. Relax. And if that wide receiver gets past that jam, they're burnt. They're toast. But Earl Thomas takes that away every time.
Yeah, I just don't – kind of the same situation with Cordy. I don't see him getting better. So that's why I had him a little lower.
Yeah, that was my only knock against Earl Thomas. He's just on that natural slope of, like, downward trend of his career. I think he's still up there. He's still in, like, the peak. I mean, I have him at 6, but I think he's just – next year may not be as good as the year previously, and last year wasn't as good as the year before that. So
for sure, still top 10.
Yeah, for sure.
I hear that. I won't hear any arguments about it.
Timothy?
I think you look in the leadership. They're not going to get better, but you look at the leadership that they bring in. I'll tell you right now, I think Devin McCourty could outcoach. I know for a fact he can outcoach most defensive coordinators in this league. I still think he has more knowledge than most head coaches in the league too.
Have you sat down and had a coaches meeting with McCourty? Is that how you know for a fact?
We've talked it out. Yeah, we've talked.
That's why he was on the call with them jerking off. That's why he took so long.
Okay, that's why we started 30 minutes late.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
You got a 6, Tim.
So I never had a concussion or was brain damaged as a child. So my brain functions normally. I have Anthony Harris at 6 because I'm not an idiot.
I don't have a problem with it.
So first off, I just want to start off with a grade that we've used often.
PFF.
He was the highest rated safety for PFF. That's one thing. If I'm Gazelle, I could just ignore that just for shits and giggles, I guess. Sure. But he also led the league in interceptions. I'm sure we can ignore that too or whatever. You brought up the Harrison Smith factor, and I agree with you. Harrison Smith is an incredible player, and he's a little bit higher on my list than Anthony Harris. But Harrison Smith has always been a versatile safety. Like, I think he is one of the best safeties in the box, where he's finally found a safety next to him that can take advantage of the fact that he's going to stack the box and take away the run. You just need to take away from the pass. And Anthony Harris made plays on the ball. Xavier Rhodes had one of his worst years in his career last year. He was literally burnt more than, a toaster set to infinity.
I don't have that set on my toaster.
Anthony Harris made up for those. He was incredible in passing downs. Obviously, I understand that he plays next to a Hall of Famer, but you got to factor in his corners. Xavier Rhodes, in particular, had a down year, and Anthony Harris was over there just saving his life every time. I thought Anthony Harris, obviously, he had one good year last year, and that's one of my 3 pillars. Harrison Smith is still there, so I think he's going to be fine going forward. My one thing is if I started a team, he's probably not my top 10 safeties I want to start with just because he plays next to a Hall of Famer in Harrison Smith. But the guy, I would not be surprised if he did exactly what he did last year this year. I think he's mastered the position of playing the deep center field like we were talking about with Earl Thomas. Almost think of Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor, where Harrison Smith is in that Cam Chancellor role, but just to a bigger degree, where Harrison Smith can just do everything. But Mostly, I mean, honestly, I think he probably had the best year of safeties last year, and that factors in. So that's where I have him.
I think they're unquestioned the best duo at safety.
Yeah, I would also agree with that.
So
I would say they're 2 top 10 safeties, but apparently Dakota doesn't think that.
I told you I had him in my top 10. Move some players around. So, but I don't disagree with you. My number 6 was a guy. I would say if this was last year, I don't know if I'd have him in my top 10. He would have been borderline just because he looked like he was kind of going to start bouncing around teams maybe. And I don't know, maybe he was starting to decline a little bit. But he went to a new team, won a Super Bowl, and had a hell of a year. So I had tired the Honey Badger.
God, I can't do this anymore.
Honey Badger number 6.
I'm with that. I'm with Honey Badger.
Are you kidding me? At 6?
You saying that because you have him
Listen,
higher or not on the list?
There's a couple people in this top 5 that you have that are just going to be astronomically incorrect. You have made some horrific grading. Anthony Harris not in your top 10, and Honey Badger at 6.
I would have Honey Badger better on the list for sure.
Of course, I'll have him better. You have at least 2 safeties in your top 5 that are going to make me question your sanity.
Look, last year he's.
Oh my God! Just go on with your nonsense. I'll educate you later when he appropriately enters this list.
Now we have a train passing. Mark lives like in the middle of nowhere where there's highways and trains only.
I don't know. There's apparently a lot going on. I hear trains.
I actually live like right in the city. You could see the skyline actually.
Jeez.
But yeah, it's Pittsburgh. It's all that steel going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So with that, Honey Badge, you know,
lie to me, and tell me why he's number 6.
I have 5 players that are better safeties right now.
You're delusional.
He's, you know, I think he was kind of questioned coming out of college at LSU because he was kind of small at 5'9", but you know,
he also got kicked off the team. But you know,
yeah, also taken in the 3rd round by the Cards, but obviously a monster, and he was really good with Cardinals. Then had that one. I think he got traded to Houston. I don't remember correctly. Either signed with Houston or got traded, and then obviously went to the Chiefs this past year and was an animal. Really lived up.
Just the Honey Badger.
Yeah, 4 interceptions, 75 combined tackles. I think he had a sack, 2 sacks, yeah, and was an All-Pro. His probably by far his best year.
So here, like I obviously in this video don't respect your opinion, but please tell me, you have 5 guys ahead of him without revealing their names. Why? What is it about Honey Badger that you have him at 6? What knocks him down? Give me his cons.
I mean, I just think I have one guy that neither of us have mentioned. I have.
Oh, here we go. That's
2.
That's gonna be the ludicrous one.
Another guy that someone already mentioned. Some guy that you guys are sleeping on heavily.
Oh,
and then I think we probably have a consensus number 1. But look,
listen, with you, I don't believe anything.
But I mean, I don't have knocks on him. I just think, you know, the other 5 players I have ahead of him are just slightly better safeties. That's all.
Number 6, I can't even fathom that. But then again, I couldn't fathom Anthony Harris at your top 10. And you put Justin Simmons at 8, right?
I did.
That was smart.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, you're both idiots, but. You know.
I mean, I'd love to hear your piece on why you think Mathieu is a god, but.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get to that.
I just think sometimes he's a bit of a liability in pass coverage, but, you know, I think he's still an incredible – he could start for any team, incredible safety. I have him at 6. I'm not, you know, not knocking him. I think this is an incredibly talented pool. I didn't know – I you know, obviously love the position, but I didn't know it was this deep in talent across the league. A lot of teams have really solid young safeties. So
he just started for safety for the Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and their defense was pretty mediocre, and he helped them become pretty good for their playoff run. So, look, I just think there's 5 better safeties than Tyrann Mathieu. That's all it is.
Okay, are we moving to 5 now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what's your number 5?
All right, number 5. I'm gonna go Harrison Smith here.
I like it.
Number 5. I love Harrison Smith. It's hard for me to not put him higher up. I think I mostly went with potential. So I'd say, like, I think I opted for some younger guys with some higher potential, I think, going forward over Harrison Smith. And kind of the same thing. He has Anthony Harris, so he's got good secondary with him already. Xavier Rhodes, I know he didn't have a good year last year, but I mean, I think Xavier Rhodes is still a pretty solid cornerback. But I mean, I'd put Harrison Smith. I think he's right around a top 5 safety.
I agree with you, Mark. I had Harrison Smith at 5 as well. Model consistency,
Yeah.
Just he's someone you don't want to run across. Like, he's a hard hitter. He's quick enough to be good in coverage. 5-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. He's consistent. He does it all. Definitely the vocal leader of that team. And I think, he's been great since he was a rookie. So,
yeah, he's just been a stud his whole career.
I just want to say that, Mark, not to get your hopes up, like, when Dakota agrees with you on his safety list, that's like a deaf person saying you have a great singing voice.
Tim, we agreed at Thomas at 8. What do you –
Then that's the last thing we agreed on, because this is idiocy that I've seen from you since then. All right, well, since Mark is, clearly damaged and disturbed as a child, and he had him wrong, I put Justin Simmons at number 5.
Okay.
He is a top 5 safety in this league. He's incredibly underrated, don't get me wrong. So I would understand why fools.
I mean, he's only 3 spots off of where I put him, so it's not like that ridiculous.
Yeah, but the thing is, that thing that's different is I have him as a top 5 safety, and you don't, and that's a big difference when you say it out loud.
I guess so. People don't usually rattle off their top 8.
So you're right about that. So let me continue this free masterclass that I'm giving both of you without even charging. God bless my soul.
Good thing it's free, because I wouldn't pay for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. You'd have to pay me to take it.
Yeah.
You of all people. I don't want to get into that. So first off, Pro Football Focus is something we've relied on in all these rankings. He was 2nd overall. That doesn't matter. He had 4 interceptions and 11 pass breaks.
He's top 5. What do you mean it doesn't matter? Of course that mattered.
Oh, I know.
But I don't swear by PFF, because they've definitely said some stupid shit in the past.
Yeah, is that your free education, Tim? Is that where you go?
Didn't they say Darius Slay was like a top 30 corner or something ridiculous last time?
Listen, you haven't let me finish.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sweet.
4 interceptions last year.
Yeah.
11 pass breakups.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's why he's number 5.
He had the lowest passer rating of any safety according to Pro Football Focus. Pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, it is impressive. It's not 5, I would say.
I think it's more impressive because you're like, oh, you know what? He's clearly an amazing defender, or clearly an amazing coverage guy. He must have a great front 7 ahead of him. Bradley Chubb got hurt immediately. Von Miller definitely had a down year last year, without a doubt.
Oh, we're talking about Simmons. I thought you were talking about Harrison.
What? God, it's like
turned me off.
It's like I'm arguing with a wall.
No, I love Simmons. Go ahead, keep talking.
Like arguing to a wall.
I'm already majority done my argument, and he just realized who I was arguing for.
There's a lot of similarities.
Wait, who have you been talking about? I've been having cars go by. I haven't heard anything.
So for the people, with the cat pictures behind themselves that haven't shaved in about a month, you might have realized that Justin Simmons is an incredible coverage safety. Coverage safety, as I've already touched on.
That's what I said when I put him at 8.
Relax. He's also top 3 in tackling efficiency for a safety. Damn. I love a safety who's incredible in coverage and can tackle him consistently. Why wouldn't I put him in the top 5 unless I was challenged like Mark? It's just easy enough. It's easy enough.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that, Tim. I like Simmons.
I also, at the same time, I also think he's incredibly underrated. He's probably the most underrated
so
safety.
underrated.
He's the most underrated safety on this list.
No Pro Bowls, no All Pros, no mentions of anything.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
I think he was second team All Pro last year, I believe, actually.
Nope.
Or the year before.
Maybe second team, but not first team.
Yeah, to be fair, I think Mark for once might actually be right about that one too. Mark,
I am correct on that one.
What about that made him number 8?
Honestly, I didn't have as much information on Justin Simmons, and I didn't know as much about him.
To be fair, Jackson's better.
He was a second team All Pro this year, so correct yourself.
Yeah, but that's really the only thing I saw off of him, because, as you said, he's very underrated. He wasn't elected to Pro Bowls and All Pros.
No. He's underrated because unintelligent idiots like yourself put him at outside of the top 5. Let's
but
go
still in
back.
the top 10.
Let's go back to the 3 pillars that make up the show. What'd you do last year? Second team All-Pro. What are you going to do next year? Fucking dominate. And if you started a team, where would I want you? Young ass like him, I'd want him on my team running that center field.
Is that what you look for, young asses, when you're putting a team together?
Oh, my God. You sound like Gazelle when he was talking about Lane Johnson's six-pack last week.
Don't be jealous.
He literally went out of his way to text me the six-pack just because I guess I didn't believe it or I didn't factor in the six-pack enough into my rankings.
No, I wanted to show everybody.
Yeah, no. Interesting.
Tim, just because you don't have a six-pack other than maybe one in the fridge, don't talk smack on the rest of us.
Oh, relax. Go ahead, Dakota. Educate us on something stupid.
No, I agree with Mark. I had
Yeah, because I went Harrison Smith at
Harrison
5.
Smith at
Maybe
5.
if you'd listen, it's like
you're right.
it's like talking to a wall.
Oh yeah,
you're right.
I'm talking to a wall.
You know what? To be fair, I didn't think he was going to educatedly put someone in the top 5.
I don't even know what that means.
All right,
but...
so I guess we're on to me at 4.
Yeah, I'm done with Harrison. Yeah, I just think he's getting a little up in age. He's already hit his peak, but he's still a baller.
I'm just waiting for the ridiculous safety you have in the top 4. There's someone in here that doesn't deserve to be there. It's like Sesame Street. One of these things don't belong, and I know Dakota has someone up there that doesn't belong.
What are you talking about, Gazelle?
My top 3 is going to upset you, and I'm going to tell you why you're an idiot.
So I have to wait till the top 3 to get mad at you?
Yep.
Right, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Mark.
All right, number 4. I'm going to go Honey Badger here at number 4. Matthew.
All right.
I could live with that. It's a lot better than where Dakota had him.
Top 5 safety.
I mean, he's a monster, but I don't think he's better than 5 players ahead of him. So
I think, like Gazelle was saying, the only knock against him really is his size. But I feel like his style of play, like he kind of makes up for that.
Size? Who gives a shit about his size? If he's a good player, who gives a shit?
I didn't say it was I said it was a knock for
NFL. You need some size. There's some large people in that league.
If you're succeeding while you're being small, who gives a shit?
I just said it works for his style of play. I said that's the only knock against him.
He's just arguing to argue.
Why don't you
settle down, Green Pillow, all right?
I don't understand. You're like, the only knock against him is his height. Because why?
Listen, don't hurt your head. You're moving your neck pretty quickly there.
You guys are just
your pillow's gonna fall off. You're gonna smack your head. You're gonna hurt
tilting.
yourself.
Come on, you gotta fix that.
Foolish. This is like I can't believe
if you put the Honey Badger at 1, you're foolish. I don't know what the hell you're smoking. If you think he's all of a sudden the best corner or best safety in the league,
don't worry about where I had him. I'll educate you soon enough.
He's great, but he's not the best.
I didn't say he was the best. Go on, Mark. Go on.
That's all I got. I got him at 4.
Okay, well that was exciting.
I keep it simple. Unlike you with all your free education from Pro Football Focus, just copy and pasting what they say.
Like a lot of these safeties are similar. A lot of their stats are similar. A lot of what they've been able to do is similar. So it's really just a lot of this is preference, what you've seen, what you like. So.
Yeah, exactly. Gazelle gets it.
Well, who you got it for, Mr. Green Pillow?
Trust me. If there's one person that doesn't get it, it's Gazelle.
All right, yeah. Who's in your crystal ball, Tim? Since you know everything.
All right, number 4. I went with someone that, some idiots in this conference put a lot lower on this list. I went with Minkah Fitzpatrick. I easily hated the trade more than I think anyone else. I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. I thought once you lost Big Ben, you ruined your season. You gave up a top 5 pick for a safety. You could have drafted Big Ben's replacement, considering 3 quarterbacks went in the top 6 picks. I thought it was stupid to give up a first-round pick, especially considering that the thing that drove me nuts is that Big Ben was already hurt, and they gave up a first-round pick. Like, you got to know that your season's not going anywhere. Minkah came in and resurrected that season. He had 5 interceptions, second most in the league, tied. The guy scored 2 touchdowns himself. Like that's like an off year for an offensive superstar. 2 touchdowns as a defense player is pretty good. 2 forced fumbles. The guy's everywhere. He resurrected that defense. He made that secondary a hell of a lot better. It was graveyard robbery was that steal. I just the overall impact he made. He's a young guy, 2 years in the league. You want to talk about a guy that had a great year last year? I think he's going to be even better. You also factor in the fact that he went to a new team in week 3. Do you realize how hard it is to go and develop a new defense and be the leader immediately without skipping a beat? I felt like he was amazing as soon as he played. It's not like he got a couple of weeks in and then he suddenly became amazing. Like, he didn't skip a beat. He went in and was a stud. We talked about this on another guy. Another superstar that got traded in our last episode was Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah.
And we said he had a plethora of penalties. The guy just
former Dolphin.
Yeah, guy just constantly had penalties. And I defended him. I was like, you know what? He probably is new to the offense, doesn't know the snap counts very well, doesn't know the scheme very well. He's getting to know it. I expect him to be a lot better. Minkah Fitzpatrick got better as soon as he entered another team. Like, that's impressive. He was running that defense. He was the coach on that team, I would say, by what, week 10? You can't fault him. He's going to be – if I started my team right now, I'm impressed. The guy's a leader. He came in and led that defense right away. I'd love him if I started my team. Great year last year, and he's going to have a better year next year once he gets more comfortable with this defense. He's number 4 with me.
Sounds like he hits the pillars.
Yeah. Thank you.
I like Minkah a lot.
Not enough. Where did you have him? Wait, where did you have him?
I have him at 7.
Yeah, sounds like you're foolish.
I mean, I'm going to contradict myself because someone I have a little higher only had almost the same amount of time that Minkah's been in the league. Right, exact same amount of time that he's been in the league. But I think
you're contradicting yourself on something ridiculous you thought of in your top 5.
It's not ridiculous because he's a better safety, but I think Minkah's going to be great. I like him a lot. He plugged in incredibly well. I don't know if I've ever seen a smoother impact player from a trade. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't ignore the fact we talked about this with Tunsil last week. He's easily a top 3 left offensive tackle, but the guy his biggest fault was 14 false starts. The guy could not stay on the ball, and I think that was more being traded in the middle. With so little experience on his new team. Minkah was literally traded in the season and didn't skip a beat. He got better.
Yeah. No,
I'm with you.
You can move people around.
I still Minkah.
I actually thought I had him at I had him a little higher and then moved him back because I actually thought I was going to get backlash for having him high. I didn't know if you guys were even going to have him as high as 7. So I'm surprised that you guys are as up on him as you are.
Well, we're not idiots, so.
Okay. So my number 4, someone that you just yelled at Mark and I for, but I agree with everything you said, is Justin Simmons.
Okay. I can live with that.
Yeah, for all the reasons you said, he's got a lot of unspoken numbers, like this whole, like you said, he was number 1 with passer rating when targeted. He was also second lowest in yards per target at 3.6. So, if they're catching it, they're not going anywhere, or if they're catching it, it's really short routes. Crazy number is he allowed 25 receptions on 47 targets for only 239 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 picks. Dude's a baller. I don't know how he missed a Pro Bowl again.
That's like I said, he's the most underrated. Honestly, he's probably the most underrated player in the NFL.
I got to say, I am starting to feel dumb after hearing you guys talk not putting Simmons
This
in
is
my
what we
top
do.
5.
We educate.
Listen, we already knew you were dumb. This is why I tell you I give you a master class for free.
But yeah, he's 20. He said he'll be going into his 5th year. He had to get franchise tagged. Dude's going to get paid. 26 years old. He's a big safety too, 6'2", 200 pounds. So I think he's an all-around, I watched some tape of him. He's got incredible instincts. He reacts super quick to the ball. I think he's just going to keep getting better. So that's why I had him at 4. I thought he was a great fit.
Gazelle, you say smart things like that, but I know 2 of your top 3. No arguments on 1. And the one, I know who it is because I had him on my list, and we talked about it. I don't know about top 3. I do not know about top 3, and I'm stunned that you have him in your top 3, and we'll talk about this. The third guy, I literally have no idea who you have as your third guy. And this is what bothers me.
It's going to be Dawkins.
Yeah.
It might as well be.
Doc. Weapon X.
We'll talk about the second guy. The third guy is what bothers me.
The third guy, I just love to watch. He's just so.
This doesn't sound like an educated opinion, though.
It's
See, I'm
my
with
opinion.
Gazelle and the second guy. I don't know who the third guy is either, but I know who the second guy is. I'm with Gazelle.
I can live with the second guy. I realize, I ranked him, where I ranked him, but I can live with that and I can understand it.
We're not even at that. Let's get to oh wait, yes we are. That was my 4. All right. So Mark,
Top
we're in the
three
top
time.
three.
yeah, top 3. Let's start it off.
See,
Uh-oh, need
besides you,
drum
I
roll.
have been paying attention.
All right, top 3. We're going to go with someone both you guys already had on the list, Fitzpatrick. Minka Fitzpatrick.
Thank you. Okay. That's
I like that.
Pretty much the reasons we talked about. So, like
Yeah,
Gazelle
but-
was saying, he could have been Defensive Player of the Year last year. So to have him not in the top 3 at his position when he could have been the best player on that side of the ball last year.
Listen, we already established that Dakota's an idiot.
And the thing with Minka Fitzpatrick too is like I've never you just talked about the smooth transition. I've literally never seen someone, especially on defense, come in. He's single-handedly like won games with like clutch moments. Like you get a fumble return for a touchdown at the end of a game, or like
without a doubt.
like it's his season last year was just insane. Completely revitalized the team. So I have to have him at least in my top 3. Only because I don't know. I think he's starting to hit his stride, but last year was like such a breakout year. I just don't know if it was like more of like a fluke to like peak that high or. But I feel like he's kind of hitting his stride, and I think he's going to keep going in that direction.
I thought his rookie year with the Dolphins was still impressive. I thought he was, going to be.
I liked him even at Alabama. I liked him a lot on Alabama. He was a stud.
Yeah,
you know who liked him a little bit better? Nick Saban loved him. And
Nick Saban said like
we thought
for a secondary guy from Bama.
I talked about Devin McCourty and being Belichick's like pupil.
Mm-hmm.
Minka Fitzpatrick's probably. I've never heard Nick Saban preach about a guy better. Than
Saban loves him.
I still don't understand how you put him at 7 and actually consider yourself a football fan.
I don't know. It's just I want to see. I mean, I don't.
Please tell me.
The thing with him is he like single-handedly won games. Like he was clutch, like big plays when you needed it. Like when the Steelers season was in jeopardy. Like the Steelers season was in jeopardy, and this guy came up and like literally made it close for them to go to the playoffs when Big Ben was down. Like when everything was stacked against them.
Yeah, but I kind of factor in some of what Mark was saying. Like, it was such an extraordinary year, a lot better than what he did with Miami. Not to say what he did in Miami.
That's the only question with him. That's why I don't have him in my top 2.
That was his rookie year, though.
In Miami, yeah.
Miami.
I like Minka.
Tanking.
I don't know if I put him at 3, but I don't have a problem with him in the top 5. Like for sure, I think he's.
You put him at 7.
Yeah, because I think he's power creeping up.
Oh my God,
he had this one interception where he had this one interception this past year where he's fucking sideways, like stretching his entire body out. I think he's great. I think he's an awesome playmaker.
All right. So we're at number 3.
So this is where you have that's okay. Go ahead.
We threw around his name a lot. Obviously, I had Anthony Harris at number 6, and I could not, in fact, ignore the guy that helped his career. Mm-hmm. I put Harrison Smith as number 3.
That's fair.
I have 3.
I'm fine with that.
I have 3 veterans on this list that I could say are Hall of Fame safeties. Obviously, we did McCourty and Thomas. Mm-hmm. My thing, the reason that there's a difference between them is because I have more faith in Harrison Smith going forward. I think, go back to the 3 pillars. If I started my team, obviously McCourty and Thomas have more knowledge than anyone else in the NFL. I think Smith has just got it more than they do. He was the 3rd-ranked safety off PFF, which, you can kill me or whatever. He was also the 3rd coverage PFF safety, considering we talked about how he loves to play in that box. 2 years ago, starting, off outside of the 2018 season, he was the number 1 rush defending safety off of PFF, which, we love to make, opinions, blah, 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 blah. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro. Surprisingly, Pro Football Reference told me that his nickname is the Heartbreak Kid. I've never heard that before. But you know what? HBK, baby. HBK is a living legend. So is Harrison Smith. Last year, I'm going to rattle off some things. 3 interceptions, 11 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles. Incredible. A sack, 65 tackles, and 4 tackles for loss. The guy loves the box. He makes plays all over. He's been doing it for a while. And I talked about Devin McCourty being a guy that knows more football than most head coaches. Don't sleep on the fact that Harris Smith has been playing with Mike Zimmer for all these years. Mike Zimmer is not an idiot when it comes to defense. The offense has always been a little suspect in Minnesota, but that defense has not been. He is the quarterback. I think that Anthony Harris isn't a rookie. He's been in the league for a couple of years, and I rated him at 6 because of how good he did this year, and I think he's going to continue to progress. But I don't think that Harrison Smith didn't have a factor in that. He's a Hall of Famer easily. He makes plays all over. I think what separated him from the other veterans on this list is in the box, Harrison Smith holds his own. Devin McCourty has never sniffed the box, never needed to. And Earl Thomas is just for the first time in his career. And he didn't do bad, but this is the first time he's did it. Harrison Smith has patrolled that box. He's played the deep safety. He's the most Brian Dawkins safety, I think, in the NFL. Honestly, I'm just losing myself with excitement waiting for the idiot that is in top 3.
Ooh,
who is it? I have no idea who it is.
Number 3.
I have no idea who it is.
So yeah, my number 3. You guys, you'll love to talk about your interceptions for safeties, which I think interceptions are more important stat for cornerbacks because they're one-on-one with someone usually, and safeties oftentimes are just
debatable. Center field, go get the ball. But go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like safety is more of a ball hawk type position.
I agree.
Regardless,
cornerbacks you don't throw on them; they don't get interceptions. Safeties go get the ball.
Hawks,
cornerbacks more pass deflections and don't throw to them in general.
Don't worry, Mark. Let's like Dakota make an idiotic.
Regardless, I like that Mark pointed out this incredible fact. This man has had 17 interceptions in 3 years. 17. Nobody's come close to that.
Are you kidding me?
Kevin Byard at number 3. I cannot believe you guys are sleeping on him so much.
I had him on my list.
I had him on my list too, but top 3? Are you fucking kidding me?
It's because he's on the Titans. You guys are looking down on him. Trust me. Dude's a baller. Look, look at the stat here. Let's see.
Oh my! Tell me the stats that I don't know. I've already had him in my top 10. We've already done this. Oh my God!
He had 99 attempts of a tackle. He only missed. Only 4 of them were either broken or missed. No one was even close to him in that ranking. Okay. He's quick.
Go ahead.
He can hit you in the mouth. He's probably one of the best hitters in the league. Great coverage, and he's a ball hawk. What is there not to love? And he's only 26. I don't know what you guys are sleeping on him for. Yet you think Minka is this god all of a sudden, and Badger is apparently like the best safety in the league. But go watching Kevin Byard.
God.
And I was gonna show some footage, but then I realized it was against the Giants, and so I didn't want to hurt myself there. But he made a flip of the hip, ended up turning around, batting a ball away on 4th and goal to win the game for the Titans. He makes plays. He's a hitter, and you guys sleep on him, but.
Listen, Minka and Matthew have been all pros more recently than Byard.
Yeah, this is idiotic.
Well, Matthew had an All-Pro last year, but, I mean, Byard's 2017 was 8 interceptions, 87 combined tackles.
2017? We were all different people. I was graduating college from 2017.
Doesn't matter. His numbers are still 4 interceptions the year after, 5 interceptions the year after that.
Minka Fitzpatrick wasn't even in the league yet.
Exactly. What do you mean? Look, Kevin Byard, I've seen lists. I've seen lists where he's outside top 10. I've seen him inside top 10. I think he is heavily slept on. I think he's like in the same boat as Simmons. Guys who've been in the league for a couple years, and nobody talks about them.
God.
Byard is a monster.
Listen, no disrespect to Kevin Byard. Don't get me wrong. I
like
him.
Byard.
I like him. I do. Top 3. Oh. I
will say the tackling stat was impressive. 99, hitting 95 of 99 tackles.
This guy just says Kevin Byard is top 3 and just drops the mic and disappears?
And just leaves.
What the hell is this? Wait, what about my stat? Justin Simmons was 3rd in tackling efficiency, even though he was the number 1 pass coverage.
I was impressed with that, too. Safety, I take into account tackling a lot, and I feel like people overlook that.
Of course you do. Of course.
Because safety, that's like my Earl Thomas thing. Like, your last line of defense. Like, I want you to be the most reliable person on the defense.
Of course.
Go watch some Kevin Byard highlights, and you'll understand.
Watched them. Listen, I've done my research. Don't worry about me.
What did you praise Minka Fitzpatrick on? Oh, he's a playmaker. All these interceptions. Kevin Byard had 17 picks in the last 3 years.
How many touchdowns did Byard have?
Who cares about touchdowns?
I do.
That's points.
How many did he have?
Wait.
Minka Fitzpatrick had 2 last year.
Okay.
Yeah. Minka Fitzpatrick had 5 interceptions last year. He's only been in the league for 2 years.
Oh, 5 interceptions? Kevin Byard had 5 interceptions. Look, this list.
I'm stunned by this.
This list can go any way. Kevin Byard was a personal thing. I really like him. I really like watching him. He's my typical kind of safety. A guy who smacks you in the mouth, playmaker. I just think people really sleep on him still because he plays on the Titans. I think if he played on the Patriots
That's
played
fine.
Look, I can appreciate it. I think you defended it well, Gazelle. I can appreciate it for sure.
Thank you. I
still
this is
think
why I
you're
didn't argue
foolish.
with him when you said 10. I think Mark said 10, Tim you said 9. I didn't argue because I get it. But I personally like him a lot. I think he's going to be a stud still.
Top three. See, the thing is, I think we've seen the best of Kevin Byard, and I haven't seen the best of Minka Fitzpatrick.
Based off what?
Based on the fact that he got traded to a new team in the middle of the year last year, and he excelled as soon as he got there.
Okay.
Kevin Byard's been on the same team. I don't think he's going to get better.
That is true. Like Minka with the full training camp with the Steelers, like full season with the Steelers, like actually getting like involved with that scheme, more of his role.
Listen, I like Kevin Byard. I do. I think I could tell you he was a top 3 safety, 2 years ago when he was really putting up the numbers and really balling out. But what about this year makes you think he's top 3?
It's just looking at a body of work. He's consistent. I
like the guy. I don't know about top 3. To be
I
fair,
think you would have Harrison Smith higher than Byard if you're talking about consistency and body of work.
Of course. That's what I don't get.
I mean, look, Minka's had, he has one, for playing, Minka doesn't really play in the box like that, but one QB hit versus Kevin Byard has 13 in his career.
I will say here's the thing.
The ball.
I will say I thought this 3 was going to be a lot worse than Kevin Byard. It's not the worst thing I ever heard. I'm okay with it. You're number 2. You're number 2. You are out of your mind.
Let's go to that.
Out of your mind on that one.
Let's go to number 2.
Out of your mind.
Wait, I don't think Mark said
I think you both have the same number 2, and you're both.
We do have the same number 2.
No, you're both.
You got number 2, Mark.
You're both.
All right, let me go to number 2 first. Before I say this,
you're an idiot.
Top 2, I believe these are the 2 consensus best safeties in the league for the next decade for sure.
Consensus for who? No, this is so no.
So number 2, I have Derwin James at number 2.
Listen, I love the guy. I do.
Derwin James.
Mark is a genius. I also have
Thank
Derwin
you,
James
Gazelle.
at number 2.
Wait, no. I want Dakota to recognize this. He picked a guy who had 1 year. You realize he didn't have Lamar Jackson in the top 5 or what it was because he had 1 year.
He was number 5.
He had Lamar Jackson's number 5 because he had 1 year, even though he won the MVP in 1 year. So Derwin James won 1 year, not this past year, but the year before, his 1 year, that's what's got him in the top 10.
Exactly. Look, Derwin James comes into the league.
God,
Derwin James comes into the league, plays 1 full year, is an all-pro in his rookie year. He just steps in as a stud.
The Chargers were good that year.
I think the Chargers have one of the sleeper best defenses going into this year, especially their secondary. But I agree
because of Derwin James.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys see, the thing is, you're talking about Derwin James' ceiling that he hasn't hit yet. I'm talking about players that have already exceeded Derwin James in his playing ability. I understand he had a great rookie year, and I like Derwin. I do. But you cannot just lie to me and tell me he's the second best safety because he had a great rookie year.
If we're talking about, a healthy Derwin James, if I could have any safety in the league from upcoming next year, I would take my number 1 guy first, and then I'd take Derwin James number 2.
So wait.
Out of your skull.
So hold on a second. So Minka played 14 games for the Steelers, 1 really impressive year, and then that means the world. But with Derwin James, almost historic rookie year is slept on. I don't understand that.
So Derwin James is just, when you think of a safety, Derwin James does it all at the highest level.
He's speed.
Everything.
He
can just do anything.
He's so fast. He can cover. He can hit, and he's not even that big, and he still smacks the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Ball hawk. He checks off all the boxes.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like him and my number 1 guy are just consensus. As an individual player, I think they're going to be best safeties going forward for the next decade.
Listen, I will say, and I'm kind of surprised, Gazelle, this is, I think, 2 weeks in a row now that we've had a consensus number 1. But listen, my thing with Derwin, I love Derwin. Don't get me wrong, I do. But he had 1 really good year. Minka's year this year was.
He's only played a full year, and that 1 full year he played, he was one of the best defensive players in the league.
Tim yells at me for doing that.
No. Here's the thing.
Flip the switch.
Minka and Derwin both have 2 years. Minka this year was just as good as Derwin's rookie year. And Minka's rookie year was better than Derwin's past year.
I mean, Derwin only played in 5 games, but sure.
Sure. That matters. Availability matters.
So Derwin James had, let's see here, 105 combined tackles, 3.5 sacks, 3 interceptions. Minka had, let's see, barely 70 tackles combined.
2 touchdowns, 2 forced fumbles, 5 interceptions.
I love Minka. I really do.
I appreciate the fact that you were unbiased and you just said his tackles and then just ignored the rest of his stats.
Okay. 2 interceptions for touchdowns. Did the Steelers do anything? Did they make the playoffs?
Did the Chargers do anything?
They made the playoffs, didn't they?
The Steelers almost made the playoffs because of Fitzpatrick.
I'll say, I agree with that.
That helps that.
Listen,
you can
put Derwin James anywhere.
I'm stunned that this – I agree with – you know what? I don't even – Derwin at 2 is way too high. Top 5, I could live with. I could live with top 5. 10, I'll agree that at 10 I had him too low. But the fact that Dakota is now educating me on someone, a one-hit wonder, is top 2. Are you kidding me? We've done this so many times where you've changed your mind and you're like, oh, he only did it for 1 year, blah, blah, blah. You have a safety at top 2. He's literally only done it 1 year.
Look, you are on crack.
Oh my God, you're.
I like I said, I'm not trying to throw shade at Minka because I like him as a player, but for you to think that he's not as good or better, for Derwin James not to be, you could put Derwin James on the line, you could put Derwin James a linebacker, you could put him at corner, at safety, he will get it done. I don't know if you could put Minka in a pass rushing situation and he would do anything.
He doesn't need to.
But
that would take him out of his strength.
You don't have, but Derwin James, he's like the guy we have number one. You can put him anywhere.
I understand. Derwin at 10,
hard hitter.
Derwin at 10 was probably too low, and I'll accept that. 2, you're out of your mind. You're literally out of your skull.
If 2 people think it's all right, then I think you're the one who's out of their mind.
Listen, I'm over here giving a free masterclass on safety knowledge. Just because my 2 degenerate students came together and formed the same opinion doesn't mean you're right.
I just don't know what you don't see in Derwin James to have him at 10.
Listen, you know what? I'll admit,
pro as a rookie. A rookie.
Listen.
Better than all these other safeties we have on our list.
You look at the 3 pillars. Last year matters, and availability is very important. He broke his pinky toe.
Okay.
And he was missing 3 to 4 months.
And he came back, played 5 games, and brought the Chargers' defense back to life. Just like Minka brought the Steelers' defense to life.
Yeah, but he didn't miss 4 months because he broke his pinky toe, and that matters.
You act like that's not a significant injury, like fucking – all these receivers who have who have like turf toe who have to sit out games because they can't make a plant. Like,
listen, coming from the guy that had a stinger and missed 3 months of practice.
2 of them, and it actually messed up my shoulder. But
I hear you. Was it still stinging?
Yeah, I have nerve damage. I can't throw too many balls nowadays.
Yeah, well, that's probably for the best for everyone. All right, listen. I you know what? I won't kill you. Derwin James at 2 just doesn't make sense. He's a top 5 safety. I'll admit, at 10, I was probably wrong about it.
Yeah, how'd you have him at 10 if you're saying he's a top 5?
All right, I admit I was probably wrong about him at 10.
Wait, looking at your list, there's someone missing who should not be at number 2, but I'd love for you to educate us on why he's number 2.
Mark, give me a drum roll, please.
You hit the snare.
To be fair, I asked an idiot for a drum roll, and it sounded like an idiot gave me a drum roll.
All right, I'll give you a better one.
This is extra production costs.
Oh, hey, I like that. I like that a lot better. Well done. You're doing good.
You got to say it.
I'm sorry. I missed that.
Do you know how this works?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, you want another drum roll?
This is so much extra.
All right, ready?
Tyrann Mathieu.
You're on crack.
Oh.
Honey Badger number 2.
I want to point out this guy. Look at the 3 pillars. You could not have a better last year than winning the Super Bowl. This guy.
That's more a team thing, though.
I hear you. But let me finish what I'm saying because you.
So Honey Badger is LeBron James. Go on.
Relax. So the Kansas City defense,
Mhm.
2018, when they should have won a Super Bowl, but D Ford decided not to line up on the sides, they were 26 on DVOA. And
Is
that's
Chris Jones on that team?
Relax. Yeah, he was on both teams. So yeah, I don't know if that matters. The DVOA, the defensive metric that ESPN uses, and debatable. It's new to me, and I like to follow along. But they were 26th. That's pretty horrific.
Yeah.
But they had Patrick Mahomes, so they went to the AFC Championship game.
Naturally.
This year, after a couple, wise decisions, I think, Andy Reid wanted to stab D Ford, but releasing him was all the same. We already talked about Frank Clark in a later video, and I'm a big Frank Clark guy. Chris Jones, as we mentioned, has been on both those teams. Their defensive DVOA was number 14 last year. Who was their biggest free agent signing that past offseason was Tyrann Mathieu. I, without a doubt, will say Tyrann Mathieu was the best offseason addition of any team that offseason last year, without a doubt. And Gazelle knows this because I go above and beyond whenever I do what I can. In the last video, I showed highlights, and this video, host disabled participant screen sharing. Gazelle, what are you doing? So we talk about, when you think of safety, when you think of a pass coverage safety that Tyrann Mathieu is, what do you think of? A guy that locks up these number one tight ends that are becoming number one wide receivers. In the biggest game of the season Tyrann Mathieu played, George Kittle, I don't know if you've heard of him. He was our, unanimous number one tight end.
No,
he went 4 receptions, 7 attempts for 36 yards.
Kittle was my third tight end, but go on.
Yeah, well, you're an idiot, so. George Kittle is the number one passing option on the Niners. And Tyrann Mathieu said, don't say much. They were in the Super Bowl. Relax. Tyrann Mathieu said, no. It ain't happening. 36 yards for George Kittle is an impressive feat. So now that my host finally agreed to let me share my screen, you Nazi, I'm going to show a couple highlights.
Wow.
So while we're all going to look at this guy highlighted.
I am German, but
wow, all right.
No one actually cares about him. That's not actually Tyrann Mathieu.
Is this the free education football session?
Oh, so they're going to show us a different player, but you're going to brag about it. Okay.
Oh, my God. This is like –
Wait, Matthew isn't the one highlighted in yellow?
I feel like the teacher that's on his rookie salary teaching the special ed kids. Fine.
Master class, right?
See the guy in the square? We don't care about him. See this guy right here looking like he wants to fuck some people up? Okay. That's Tyrann Mathieu. This is Mike Williams. Arguably the best go up and get it ball catcher in the wide receiver. I want you to follow.
He's a good player, but I wouldn't go that far.
I know. We didn't ask. I want you to follow this. Look at this intense matchup here.
Oh, it's
ready?
So
watch.
Intense.
That's 32. Look at this. I want you to see this. Oh, I'm just going to go up and get the fucking ball. Go up and get the fucking ball. That's what I do.
That looks like any top.
Oh, don't worry. I have another angle. Relax. He's going to go up and get the fucking ball. He jumps like he's a fucking wide receiver. Nope. Don't have time for this. I'm going to go up and get the fucking ball.
I think he might have held a little bit there.
Yeah, no one asked for your opinion. So we're going to go back to another highlight that I think is even better, but I wanted to save it for this one.
Is he the highlighted player or the non-highlighted player?
Yeah.
There is no highlighted players here. So this is Tyrann Mathieu. You'll know him as the second best safety in the NFL. Watch as he's going to realize that what I'm covering doesn't actually matter. I'm going to make a bigger play. So we all see him. There he is. Oh, fuck that. Nope, I see where you're going. Nope, not going to happen. Look at the pass coverage.
Should have caught it.
Spot him. Hey, I'm going to take this. Boom. Not going to happen. That's a touchdown, Gazelle.
Wasn't that Hayden? So he was covering Hayden Hurst, the tight end, and you're just like shocked that he got back before he did?
No. He's actually covering this wide receiver here. Realizes that's not going to happen. I'm going to take this tight end and defend a touchdown.
I would say that he had zone coverage on that, and he was supposed to drop back and be the high safety, but.
So no one actually asking for your opinion would realize that he stopped a touchdown from happening.
He should have caught it.
Yeah, well, again, no one's actually asking for your opinion.
Okay. So you showed it.
Yes. Hold on, I'm not finished.
Okay.
So the other thing about Tyrann Mathieu's got to factor in is he of safeties had the most targets among all safeties. Playing the safety on a defense that has Patrick Mahomes on the offense is incredibly difficult. Patrick Mahomes is going to put up 4 touchdowns every week. We already know that. You got to be a safety that can make yourself a stud while constantly being targeted. Like, every team you're going to play is constantly going to throw the ball and push downfield. Every team.
Wait. So
Doesn't that make it easy? You know what's going to come then?
He's played so you're saying that he gets targeted a lot, so he should have a lot of interception. Let's see.
I know. He has the most receptions.
3, 4, 5, 6. He played 7 years, and he has 17 career interceptions. Kevin Byard had 17 interceptions in 3 fucking years.
Yeah.
What is your point of this? Please.
How many All-Pros did Kevin Byard go to?
1.
Yeah, Tyrann Mathieu went to 2, so sit the fuck down.
He's also double the amount of career years, but sure, why not?
Like I said, how many rings does he have on his finger?
It's a team. You can't. Super Bowl rings don't matter.
Sit the fuck down. Who beat who in the AFC Championship game?
Did they play one-on-one?
They did.
Oh. I mean, Patrick Mahomes versus Ryan Tannehill. I don't know what you're trying to compare there, but
I just think that, listen, the guy had an amazing year last year. He immediately they literally went up 12 spots in DVOA as a team, and he was the biggest addition. Sure, Frank Clark came on the team, and I love him, but you know what? Dee Ford had a great year that year, besides the fact that he couldn't stay on sides in the most crucial play of his entire career. Mm-hmm. So you're not really replacing anything. It's just kind of a wash. Tyrann Mathieu was the best offseason addition of any player that entire year. He made plays. And again, when you think of safeties and pass coverage, they're stopping tight ends. And George Kittle, the number 1 tight end in the league, regardless of what you think, went 4 for 7 for 36 yards in the biggest game of his entire life.
Well, I think it's pretty interesting that Kevin Byard helped take a Tennessee Titans team with sure they had the leading rusher in Derrick Henry, but they had Ryan Tannehill, who was he played well, but it's still Ryan
I don't want to
Tannehill.
hear this. It's a team sport. In a losing effort, they played as a team.
So who was a better team, the Chiefs or the Titans?
What? The Chiefs, of course, you idiot.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
I don't even understand what you're arguing
so
here.
He plays on a better team.
Because they'll say it's a team sport, Tim.
Yeah.
So that goes back to the fact that I said
we're doing individual rankings.
No, DVOA, the Kansas City Chiefs were 26th overall last year. Okay. This year they were 14th. What was the big difference in their offseason? Tyrann Mathieu.
I'm sure they did other things, like send other players, but
did they?
Look, I think Matthew's great too. I don't know if he's number 2. I mean, I had him at 6. Mark had him at 4. You had him at 2. So we had a little even out thing going on here, but I don't know about – I could see top 5, no problem, but 2 – has he been number 2 his whole career? No.
He's got 2 All-Pros.
I just want to –
double Kevin Byard's.
Since you had your piece on Honey Badger and you're an idiot, I just want to go back to Derwin James real quick because you like to look at PFF. So PFF did a top 25, under 25. Number 17 on this list was Mr. Minkah Fitzpatrick. And number 4, the number 1 safety in our list, or number 1 safety of their list, Derwin James at number 4 of top 25 players under 25. So 17 for Minkah, 4 for Derwin.
See,
I would just like to say that you are –
Listen, I've got Derwin over Minkah.
Yeah, and I got Derwin over Minkah, and not at number 10 like an idiot, but –
Here's the thing. Out of 2 years, Minkah Fitzpatrick has played 32 games. You would be stunned to find out, because I know, Dakota, you ran out of fingers to count to 32. That 16 – 2 times, 16 games, playing all 16 games twice in the 2-year career that you have, like Minkah Fitzpatrick did, is 32 games.
Tim, I think we're caught up on that end.
Derwin James had 21 games, so of course he's ranked a little bit better. He also missed 11 games. He could have sucked dick those 11 games and been irrelevant.
Or he could have done what he did in the games before and was very good.
Yeah, he could have. We never know.
Which is more likely.
See, but the difference is Minkah Fitzpatrick actually did it. Derwin James, we're just talking about doing it.
Okay.
Derwin James did it.
What, 1 year? Minkah's done it twice. Sit down, little boy.
Derwin James' rookie year was better than Minkah's rookie year.
Yeah.
Let's look at – that's the only year you can compare them side by side.
Some Derwin James versus Honey Badger. Tim, would you say 2019 was Honey Badger's best year?
No.
Why not?
I would say the All-Pro season with Arizona. The
2015?
Second All-Pro season.
That was a good year. But let's look at 2019. He was also an All-Pro.
Oh, let's ignore the fact that Tim already pointed out a better year. But, we'll just keep going with whatever I want to say, because it matches up to what I'm trying to
Well,
prove.
we're not 20. According to Tim, anything that's not last year or 2018 was ancient. So
Yeah,
Do you remember
irrelevant.
the 3 pillars?
2015 is pretty
Last
ancient,
year,
Tim.
next year, start my team.
Yeah, 2015 is not next year or the year before. So
2015 was also me in college and you in college.
yeah, that was a long time ago.
Mark was a fetus then.
Yeah. Anyways, if you let me get to my point here, 2019 for both players, or so 2018 for Derwin because he was fully healthy, and
Okay.
2019 for Matthew. Let's see. Derwin had they both played 16 games. Derwin had 13.
No. Tyrann Mathieu played 14 games in 2015. Educate
said
yourself before you come at me.
Okay, maybe you should listen. I said
We're
2019.
talking about 2019.
Oh, okay.
2015 and 16 is irrelevant, Tim.
Yeah,
You're right. I'm
so
sorry. He kept on talking about irrelevant stuff. I just figured we were going with irrelevant nonsense.
Derwin's 2018 because you need to look at a full year of work.
You're right. 2 years ago. Go on.
You act like that's like so long. Okay, 2018, he was an All-Pro as a rookie. I don't know. That's pretty fucking impressive. 16
Tyrann Mathieu
games
was an
played.
All-Pro, but go ahead.
16 as a rookie, he was an All-Pro. He didn't get All-Pro.
No. He was an All-Pro in 2019. We're talking about the relevant, years.
Stop switching. Let me fucking talk. 2018, 16 games. He had 3 picks, and Matthew had 4. Respectable.
Interesting. So, interesting.
Derwin had 3.5 sacks. Matthew had 2. Okay, respectable.
Okay.
Derwin had 105 combined tackles. Matthew had 75. Okay. Let's see. QB hits. Derwin had 6. Matthew had 2. Okay, respectable. I'm just saying, Derwin is a stud. The fact that you have him at 10 is disrespectful, and the fact
That's absolutely disrespectful.
Fine. I respect the fact that I made a mistake on Derwin at 10. It was more just listen. I seen him for 1 year. I thought Dakota was going to rip me for 1 year. I can't believe this guy just backtracked on his whole philosophy on all these videos and suddenly changed his mind.
I had to. I want to actually look at this my list real quick to see. So we had, let's see. McCourty is 32. Eddie Jackson's 27. Thomas 31. Minka 23. Matthew is 28. Harrison Smith 31. 26 for Simmons. Byard's 26. Derwin James is 23, and then the other guy's 24. So yeah, it's a good mix of we got some really young, almost still fresh out of college safeties who are ballers, and we got the veterans who are still pretty much in their prime at this point. I just think that's a cooler way to look at it. But
I listen, I still think you're idiotic, but you know what, because Mark looks like he's about to get his mugshot taken.
Listen here, Green Pillow, I don't want to hear any more about this.
Why do you keep attacking my Green Pillow? I don't even understand why it's an insult.
Mark, would you do the honors of declaring who we all had at number 1, unless Tim is on crack and somehow didn't have this guy on his list?
Tim is someone completely different. Tim is the other safety of the Chiefs because they won the Super Bowl.
Rodney McLeod.
But so my number 1, who I'm assuming we all have, would be Jamal Adams.
Agreed.
Yes, I did.
That's let's see, 3 or 4 weeks in a row we've had a consensus number 1.
I know
something's going right.
You know what's weird is we literally have bitter arguments about every single position of this entire list.
Yeah.
Besides the one, I don't understand how.
Four weeks in a row.
We always agree on number 1. We bitterly disagree on every other number besides number 1.
It was
odd reason.
Chandler Jones. Then Mahomes, then Ronnie Stanley, now Jamal Adams.
It's so weird. I don't understand. How do we always agree on number 1? We literally stab each other from 2 to 10, but number 1, we love each other.
Yeah. So, Mark, what do you like about Jamal at number 1?
Jamal's just a savage. I think when you talk about just being able to hit, play in the box, just do everything. I think he's just on just another level. When it comes you actually just watching him play, he's just a difference maker.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for defensive backs, if they come into the league as a rookie and they're dominating right off the bat, because a lot of times rookies need adjusting, because it's such a faster game in the NFL versus college. But when safeties like Derwin James and Jamal Adams and Minka come into the league and they're able to just get it that and able to make an impact on their teams, it's so incredible. And 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro in 3 years. I mean, like you said, he's a savage. He's a monster. I love him.
I will say this: this past year, so 6.5 sacks in 14 games.
Yeah, for safety.
That was. Do you realize? So
that's absurd.
I just want to put this in perspective because obviously Well, regardless, he was second on his team in sacks with 6.5 in 14 games. DeMarcus Lawrence, highly, highly paid pass rusher, had 6 sacks in 16 games. Whitney Marsalis, another high respected. We had him in the top 10, did we not, Gazelle?
We
in
did.
Edge rushers.
Or Josh did.
Yeah, 7.5 sacks in 16 games. Trey Flowers, big money guy, 7 sacks, 15 games. Jamal Adams, 6.5 in 14 as a safety.
Yep.
He had 10 tackles for loss. Number 1 on his team. Obviously, the Jets are garbage. But do you know how many? Do you realize what all pros he tied? Von Miller and Calais Campbell also had 10 tackles for a loss last year. Like, the guy's nasty.
Yeah.
He had 400 snaps in the box, 131 in the slot. He had 34 snaps outside on corner. Like, he's matching up with a wide receiver. And he had 96 as an edge rusher. Edge rusher. This guy is easily the best pass rusher on the entire Jets, and he's probably the best coverage guy on the entire Jets.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, 13 QB hits, and like I was watching, he had a video he did with Baldy and I think Jaws, where he was like breaking down film, and like you could see he gets excited about going to take on like lineman blocks and like tight end, like he bullies tight ends. It's like
tight ends.
So impressive.
He is the best. He is the best pass rushing safety, I honestly, that I can think of. I want to compare him to someone, but I know it's a different NFL. I can't think of an NFL safety that put up 6.5 sacks in their third year in the NFL.
I think the closest would be Dawkins, like the way he plays.
Yeah, but Dawkins was not rushing the pass. This guy, like,
I think Adams wound up having a better coverage career than Dawkins. But
Jamal Adams is the best pass rusher on his entire team.
It was funny. I think, not to make like it's a weird comparison, but he reminds me a lot of somebody on the other side of the ball on his team in Le'Veon Bell, where at a time Le'Veon was arguably one of the best running backs. And one of the things I loved about Le'Veon Bell was his vision. Like, he would read a play before it even happened. Like, he was able to know who was going where, what was going to happen. And Jamal Adams is very much the same. You watch his instincts, like, as the play's developing, and he just knows where the play's going. He's
tackles for loss shows that.
Yeah. He's just
he's amazing.
I think Savage fits him well. Like,
that's like the best way I can describe it. Just his mindset, like he just comes in just full throttle, just doesn't care.
Like, you could, like Tim was saying, like arguably the best pass rusher on the Jets. Like, you can put him at linebacker, safety, corner. It doesn't matter. He's gonna
sacks second on the team. Tackles was 75, second on the team. First on the team with tackles for loss. This guy is the best pass rushing safety I've ever seen. Without a doubt.
I think it was against the Patriots this past year, where like the offense on the Jets wasn't doing anything. I think because Darnold was still out, and like the Patriots were like having their way, and then like Jamal Adams scored a touchdown. It was like he was the only. I think it was the only points of the game from him.
The dude's a stud. The dude's like I honestly have never seen a safety play like he's playing. Like, because you see those strong safeties, like you think of like the Cam Chancellors, the ones that are going to take your head off for moving across the middle or in the box as like an eighth defender. Jamal Adams can cover. The guy can cover too.
I think the way he moves around and he plays the box a lot also impacts why he only has 2 interceptions in his career so far. But like it's not a knock on him. He just
spent like I said,
too busy tackling the person who has the ball to intercept.
He spent this past year. He spent 401 snaps in the box.
Yeah,
he spent 96 of those as an edge rusher. He's the best pass rusher on that team.
He's basically a linebacker.
I was gonna say he's pretty much a linebacker.
With an exceptional
he's like that
coverage
outside
skills.
Linebacker safety hybrid.
Which is what Dawkins was, but yeah, I can see that comparison.
I agree. I see the Dawkins comparison, but I've never seen a pass rusher like him.
It's like a mix of Ed Reed and Dawkins.
There's been 3 of these, like, because you got to think Jamal Adams is going to acquire a lot to get to him.
Yeah.
If you want to trade him, you got to give a lot. I can think of 3 trades that required a massive amount of assets to get. Obviously, the OG would be Khalil Mack, Tunsil, and then Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
All 3 of them, besides Ramsey for right now, signed record-setting contracts.
Yeah.
The Eagles, obviously a team I live and die for, have been linked to the Jamal Adams. And you know what? I love them. There is no – I think trading massive assets, like you're talking 2 first-round picks, which all 3 of those players I named went for, which I think Jamal Adams would go for. to then sign them to a record deal contract.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's idiotic. It just doesn't.
They're already in cap trouble coming up. Like they're going to have some tough decisions.
But in the whole overall scheme of it, like it doesn't make sense. Like the Bears, they peaked on the first year of Mac. They took a step down this year, and I don't think they're going to get better. Tunsil's the weird case because they gave up Hopkins was part of that agreement. I feel like you signed Tunsil to a huge deal knowing you're going to get rid of Hopkins, and they did. And I think that's going to hurt them. But I think Tunsil's going to help Watson in the long run. Ramsey, we'll see. I think the Rams have to sign him. Otherwise,
they'd be
so
foolish.
It'd be idiot. That's the other thing is you have to sign them to a record-setting deal. Otherwise, you missed 2 first-round picks for what?
Yeah.
I don't know. Mark, your last opinion on Jamal Adams possibly talking about the trade? You think he's going anywhere?
I don't know. I'm kind of with you. I feel like the Jets aren't really going to get rid of him. They're not going to be able to find a deal with anyone.
They're not going to pull a Houston and give him away for a bag of chips.
No.
It's kind of funny that Houston's been rumored to be linked to AB now. After they
Really?
Yeah. He was working out with Russell Wilson the other day wearing a Raiders helmet. So he just took the Raiders emblem off. It was just a gray, but it was gray with the black stripe. I was like, that's your Raiders helmet, buddy. It says 84 on it. Nice try.
Wait, was it the league approved helmet or was it,
who knows? It was probably the one he was crying about.
Yeah. Was it the new one that wasn't sanctioned by the NFL?
He wanted the one from the 1950s that they wouldn't let him wear. Yeah. I saw Jamal Adams on a lot of lists that he wasn't number one. So I was curious what you guys did. But
I mean, I just look at what he does in all aspects. He is the best pass rushing safety I've seen.
That's what's ridiculous about him. To be the best pass rusher on your team and you're
without a doubt, it's not even close. Like he had, numbers are numbers, but yeah, you take them whatever way you want. But DeMarcus Lawrence gets paid a lot of money to rush the passer, and Jamal Adams ended up with more sacks than him in less games. So you know who was number 11 for me? Like the top 11 was hard for me. Buda
Anthony
Baker
Harris was number 11.
Well, you're an idiot, but Buda Baker was number 11 for me.
Who's someone I really, really wanted to put in top 10, but I just could not, was Keanu Neal. Like his talent is crazy, but the dude has not been healthy. Like I don't think a single season in his career. Oh, you want me to bring up a crazy name? Landon Collins.
I was thinking Landon Collins.
What happened
to him?
A year or two ago, he would have been in like my top 5 easily.
Easily. When he was in the peak with his Giants, and he's still young. Yeah. Like, I don't know why he fell off all of a sudden.
His final year in the Giants, he was like top 3.
Yeah, but he played for some shitty teams. Like I think he was more a product of being on shitty teams making numbers.
I don't know. He was from. He was an
Alabama. Just watch him play. Like he could hit. He could get some picks.
Yeah.
Like he could just play.
You know what? Like, I just think it was more shitty teams for him.
But it was just weird. Like, he was a huge name. Like, oh, no, the Giants let him go and then did nothing with the Redskins.
Could also be because he's on the Redskins, and people just suck when they go to the Redskins.
Who might be a different name. But
yeah, they are. That's
Washington Warriors or something crazy. But
that would be the most unoriginal name. They got to go bold. Be your own name.
Someone said the Washington Washingtons, and George Washington is their mascot.
Washington Washingtons.
That's interesting.
But
no, Gazelle, I wanted to point out one thing is, so since we've all heard our list, and I thought this could have gone one or two ways, we had 3 Super Bowl winners in our top 10s.
It's an interesting stat. I don't really look too much into Super Bowls because it's more of we're looking at single stats.
I know. I agree with you there, but it was just something interesting.
Speaking of Super Bowls, Jimmy Ward of the Niners, I thought he's honorable mention.
Yeah,
he's a good player.
Jimmy Ward's good.
PFF had him pretty high.
I like Jimmy Ward a lot, actually. Like when I see him play, he looks real good.
My thing with Jimmy Ward, though, is he had his best year this past year when Nick Bosa, DeForest Buckner, and Armstead all played healthy the entire year.
Yeah, he lights people up, though.
Marcus Williams, another young guy coming up from the Saints.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'd Marcus Williams in my honorable mention.
Amos with the Packers is decent still.
My honorable mentions was Baker, Eddie Jackson, and Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams, it's not been enough time for the Minneapolis Miracle that I can forgive that. Buda Baker, he has a lot of tackles, but outside of that, I don't think his coverage is that great. Eddie Jackson, I think, was better. He's top 10 last year. I think he slipped off this year, just like the entire Bears team.
Yeah, I like both Bills safeties, Poyer and Hyde.
Yeah, they're good.
Adrian Amos actually had a really good year last year with the Packers.
I had him on my my honorables.
Yeah, the bubble. Kareem Jackson played corner all his life with the Texans, then plays safety now with the Broncos. He's a good one too with Simmons. He made a good transition to safety. John Johnson also with the Rams, somebody I kind of thought of, but not. He's not elite.
I barely even know that name.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if that was a porn star, to be honest with you.
You never heard of John Johnson III?
That literally sounds more like a porn star name now.
Which is
All right,
kind of
well,
surprising.
It was a pleasure.
All right, thank you for having me on, gentlemen. It was a fun podcast.
Yeah, as it always is.
How did you enjoy his master class?
I learned a lot. I learned a lot in the master class.
See? Hey, go to Rate My Professor and rate me high.
I had to bring my notepad next time, but I learned a lot.
I bring mine every time.
Probably still can't read it, but
That's the takeaway. That's the homework for the next master class. Bring the notepad.
All right, well, hey, happy birthday to America. And I'll see you guys probably another time in my life, unfortunately, about it.
All right, you got it. I'll see you, gentlemen.
All right, bye.
peace.
Peace.